rebel, visionary, billionaire. Richard Branson is a name synonymous with ambition and audacity. But behind the charming grin lies a story of rebellion and relentless ambition. How did a dyslexic boy turn into one of the world's most daring tycoons? This is Richard Branson's untold story. Richard Branson's story begins in Blackheath, London, where he was born on July 18, 1950, into a middle-class family. From a young age, it was clear that Richard was different. Diagnosed with dyslexia, he struggled to keep up in school. Reading and writing were monumental challenges, and his teachers often labeled him as lazy or a troublemaker. But what they couldn't see was the entrepreneurial spark hidden beneath the surface. Far from being disheartened by his academic difficulties, young Richard developed extraordinary interpersonal skills and an ability to think outside the box. His mother, Eve, played a key role in shaping his resilience, frequently challenging him with tasks designed to cultivate independence. Once, she even left him several miles from home and told him to find his way back on his own, at just 11 years old. By the age of 15, Branson found his escape from the rigidity of the classroom by launching a student magazine, aptly named Student. The goal? To give young people a voice while challenging the status quo of education and authority. With no formal training, Branson and his team hustled to secure interviews with high-profile figures, including Mick Jagger and John Lennon, and convinced local businesses to buy advertising space. The magazine quickly gained traction, selling over 50,000 copies. This early success wasn't just luck, it was a testament to Branson's charisma and ability to turn ideas into reality, but not everyone was impressed. Critics saw him as a cocky teenager biting off more than he could chew. What started as a small magazine was just the beginning of Branson's rebellion. But little did he know the challenges ahead would demand more than just confidence. They would require him to take risks most wouldn't dare. In the early 1970s, Richard Branson's entrepreneurial spirit led him to his next big venture, music. While running Student magazine, Branson noticed something intriguing. Many of his readers were passionate about music but couldn't afford the expensive albums sold in traditional stores. He saw an opportunity. At just 20 years old, he launched Virgin Mail Order Records, offering discounted albums that could be delivered straight to customers' doors. It was a bold idea, and it worked. Orders began pouring in, but things took an unexpected turn when a postal strike disrupted the business. Faced with mounting pressure, Branson pivoted yet again. He opened a small brick-and-mortar record shop in London. With beanbags, free tea, and a laid-back atmosphere, the Virgin Record store became a hangout spot for young people, a stark contrast to the stiff, formal vibe of traditional music retailers. But Branson wasn't content with just selling music. He wanted to create it. In 1972, he launched Virgin Records as a record label, taking a massive gamble by signing unknown and experimental artists. One of the first was Mike Oldfield, whose debut album Tubular Bells became a surprise smash hit, staying on the charts for over 250 weeks. The label quickly gained a reputation for signing edgy, unconventional acts, including the controversial Sex Pistols. By the late 1970s, Virgin Records was a global success, and Branson's name was synonymous with rebellion and innovation in the music world. But building this empire didn't come without risks. To keep the business afloat in the early days, Branson reportedly engaged in some questionable tactics, including dodging taxes by falsely declaring albums as export goods, a decision that nearly landed him in jail. Virgin Records had put Branson on the map, but his ambitions didn't stop there. The music industry was just the beginning. What came next would see him take on some of the world's biggest corporations and push his rebellious spirit to the limit. By the early 1980s, Richard Branson was already a major name in the music industry, but his restless ambition drove him to explore new horizons. During a delayed flight to the Virgin Islands, Branson had an idea that would redefine his career. Frustrated by the lack of options and poor service in the airline industry, he wondered, why not start my own airline? Most people would have dismissed the idea as a billionaire's pipe dream, but not Branson. Despite having no experience in aviation, Branson launched Virgin Atlantic in 1984. It was a bold move into a market dominated by giants like British Airways and American Airlines. Virgin Atlantic wasn't just another airline. It promised something revolutionary top-tier service at competitive prices. Branson offered innovative features like in-flight entertainment, complimentary champagne in economy class, and attentive customer service that made passengers feel valued. Passengers loved it. Virgin Atlantic quickly gained a reputation as the airline that put the customer first. But success in the skies wasn't smooth sailing. Competing against established giants like British Airways meant entering a brutal game. What began as healthy competition soon escalated into an all-out war. Behind the scenes, British Airways launched a covert smear campaign against Virgin Atlantic. Known as the Dirty Tricks campaign, BA employees spread false rumors about Virgin, hacked into its computer systems, and even tried to poach its passengers by impersonating Virgin staff. Branson, never one to back down, took legal action. In 1993, Virgin Atlantic won a landmark case against British Airways, forcing them to apologize publicly and pay over £3 million in damages. It was a moment of vindication for Branson and cemented his reputation as the ultimate underdog, but the victory came at a cost. Branson had to sell his beloved Virgin records to keep Virgin Atlantic afloat during the legal battle. It was a heart-wrenching decision, but Branson's determination to keep his airline alive showed the lengths he was willing to go to stay in the game. Virgin Atlantic's rise wasn't just about innovation, it was about resilience, rebellion, and Branson's refusal to bow to the big players. But as his empire grew, so did the stakes. Was his audacity the key to success, or was Branson risking everything for the thrill of the fight? By the 1990s, Richard Branson had established himself as one of the most recognizable entrepreneurs in the world. Virgin wasn't just a brand, it was a symbol of rebellion against corporate norms. From music to airlines to mobile phones, Branson expanded his empire into industries where no one thought he stood a chance. And then, he set his sights even higher on the stars. In 2004, Branson launched Virgin Galactic, a bold attempt to pioneer commercial space travel. He promised to make space accessible to ordinary people, though tickets came at an extraordinary cost, $250,000 each. Branson's dream captured the public's imagination, but critics dismissed it as a vanity project. Over the years, technical setbacks, delays, and the tragic 2014 crash of a test flight that killed one pilot raised serious questions about whether Branson's vision was too dangerous to pursue. The failure was a stark reminder of the risks Branson was willing to take, not just with his money, but with lives. Yet even in the face of tragedy, Branson doubled down, promising that Virgin Galactic would prevail. In 2021, he achieved his dream, flying to the edge of space himself, proving his critics wrong yet again. But Branson's ventures haven't always been celebrated. Over the years, the Virgin Group has faced criticism for exploiting tax loopholes, cutting corners in its operations, and engaging in aggressive tactics to outmaneuver competitors. Branson's charming persona and adventurous spirit have often shielded him from scrutiny, but some argue that his success has come at a high moral cost. One of the most controversial cases came during the pandemic, when Virgin Atlantic requested government bailouts to stay afloat. Critics slammed Branson for asking taxpayers for help, given his billionaire status and Virgin Group's complex tax arrangements that kept much of its wealth offshore. For Branson, the criticism has always been part of the package. He's argued that risks, even controversial ones, are necessary to drive innovation and progress. But the question remains, how much of his rebellion is driven by a desire to make a difference? And how much by the thrill of winning? As Richard Branson reaches new heights, literally and figuratively, the line between visionary and opportunist becomes harder to define. Is he the maverick the world needs, or a man who simply refuses to lose? The legacy of his rebellion will be debated for generations to come. Love him or hate him, Richard Branson redefined what it means to be a rebel in business. His story is one of audacity, resilience, and relentless pursuit of success. But behind the charm, we're left to wonder, how far is too far? Comment below and let us know, is Richard Branson the ultimate entrepreneur, or has his rebellion come at too great a cost? Don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories of history's boldest trailblazers.